beautiful people. Welcome back to the Polyglottal Stop. I'm here with a former student and a friend of mine, David. Welcome, David.
Thank you for having me. It was really nice to see you. It's been a while.
Yes, it really has. For those of you listening, David, when I say former student, I mean former. This
Yes.
was like
12,
2012,
2013, 12.
I
Yeah.
think 2012. So it's been 9 years. Oh my God. Um, but we're in a WhatsApp group chat, but I haven't seen David in about like 9 years. So it's very good to see him and talk with him today. I have done interviews before talking with English teachers and people who have traveled. This is an interview specifically with David because he is a language learner, as am I, as many of my listeners are as well. So we're going to talk to David a little bit about his language learning journey and goals and things like that. So, David, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is David. I'm coming from Ecuador. I came to Canada in 2012, April 2nd, if I am not wrong. And since then, I studied with you. I had we have a very good times together with some friends of ours. And then since then, I fall in love with the city. I fall in love with Toronto. I fall in love with Canada. And thanks God, I'm still in Canada. And then I right now Canadian residence and hopefully some citizenship. So it was a dream come true actually, but everything
Wow,
well, everything went well.
awesome. Well, congratulations. Uh, was it always your plan to move to Canada, or was it after you came here you realized you wanted to stay?
After I came here, I realized because my first impression or my first goal, can I say, it was to come to Canada to study English. So I
Uh,
came to Toronto. I studied English for 1 year, and then after the time, I realized that I can do more. I went to college. My parents support me in that kind of that stuff. So, and then I decided to stay here. Everything was very soft to me. Of the paperwork, of the travel, of the documents were good. So for me, it was easy to stay in Canada. Actually,
okay, right on. I love that. So, why did you want to come to Canada to learn English? Why was that your
actually, in the
goal?
beginning, my goal was just to study English, right? So my first choice
Okay.
was go to London or to Australia, maybe, but it was a little bit expensive. Uh, Back in
Mhm.
Ecuador, we use American dollars, but it was expensive to convert to euros, right? Or to
Mhm.
pounds if you go to London. So my agency at that time showed me two options: Toronto or Vancouver. So I'm from Quito, Ecuador. It is the capital of Ecuador. So, and then they said, for you, it's better to go to Toronto and not Vancouver because Vancouver is a little bit more nature. It's no more fun for you. So it's maybe Toronto is better because it's a cosmopolitan city. It's a lot of traffic. A lot of people. It looks like to your city. So that's why I decided to
Oh,
go
I
to
see.
Toronto.
Similar.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So Toronto is similar to Quito.
Yes, yes. Because,
I
it's kind of the capital, can I say? It's not the capital, but Toronto is the economically is capital, right? So we have the same problems as the capital of my country. So
I think Toronto is the capital of Ontario, but
yes,
it's not the capital of Canada.
yes,
Okay, thank you for telling us a little bit about you and your story. So you are from Ecuador, which
yes,
means your first language
yes.
is
Spanish.
right. Very good. And are you studying any other languages besides English?
I was studying a little bit of Korean and Japanese, but about 2 years ago. Right now, I stopped it because I was going another job, so kind of that. But I was very, very, very interested in learning Korean. Actually, I had classes in the college, Korean classes, and then I learned Japanese from my friends. So I went to Japan, I went to Korea, so I learned. learn more about those languages because it's very interesting for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we were actually in Korea at the same time
Yes.
back in somewhere between 2015 and 2017.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was in
remember
Korea
exactly.
2015, I believe, and Japan 2016, 17, I don't remember.
And what was that experience like for
Oh,
you? What was Korea like?
was amazing. It was really, really amazing because since I came to Canada, I made a lot of friends from all over the world, especially Asian friends, Korean, Japanese. And for me, those kind of people are very warm people, very friendly. I like the food, I like the culture. So I had the opportunity to go to visit them. For me, was really a dream come true. Was very nice
Very
trip.
nice. Awesome. So tell us one thing that you remember in Korean.
안녕하세요. 저는
예,
나비입니다.
네. 아, very good.
음,
좋아요.
자,
저는 안젤리크입니다. 반갑습니다. And so you went, I assume, to Korea and Japan around the same time, right? Like it was the same trip, first Korea, then Japan, or
oh no.
Japan first?
I went to Korea in 2015, I believe, and I went to Japan 2017.
17. Okay,
Yes,
so you
yes,
you went and came back and went again.
yeah, yes, yes.
What is something that you really enjoyed about visiting Japan?
The weather, because I went in April, right? In April, in Canada it's still cold, so but over there was very, really, really nice weather. I love the food. Really, the
Mhm.
street food is the best. The same as Japan, same as Korea. The street food is very, really the best. And the friends, the people is very good, very amazing.
So you know I'm going to ask you now to tell us something in Japanese.
Oh yeah, I really forgot a little bit. Biru desu ka?
Biru desu ka? What
No,
does that
biru
mean?
daisuki is like I like beer. Biru daisuki.
Ah, biru. Ah,
Biru
daisuki.
daisuki.
Yeah.
Because people say
Cool.
biru daisuki desu ka? And then I used to say biru daisuki.
Ah, they ask you, do you like beer? And then
Yes.
you say, yes, I like beer. Ah,
I went well
that's
prepared to Japan.
you weren't or you were?
Yeah, I studied a little bit of survival Japanese before I went to Japan, so it
Right.
was very interesting.
Nice. Very cool. I've been to Japan, but only a few days, and I spent most of it with other English speakers, so
You
I
have the
didn't
chance to
actually
experience.
no. Um, but I loved it there. I think I should go back to experience things like the street food and the nightlife culture a little bit more.
Yeah, you have to
Mhm.
go to the small towns. I went to the very small towns with everything in Japanese. No, even the everything was in Japanese. So it was a little bit difficult for me, but it was really fun. With my Google Translator, it was fun because they have a broken English, I have a broken Japanese, and we understood each other at the end of the day. So it was pretty good.
Nice. Very yeah, Google Translate has improved a lot
Yes, that helped me a
over the
lot,
years.
actually.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, so are you still studying English? Do you think you're still studying or are you just learning from life now?
I'm learning from life. I mean, for me, the best thing to keep my English. Anyways, I'm working speaking English too, right? But I always
Mhm.
say to the people the best way to study English can be listen music or watch movies in English subtitles. That's how I
Mhm.
learn English actually.
Okay.
Just listen music and then repeating the lyrics is something that I don't know. I translate in Spanish and try to figure out what is that means because sometimes Spanish and English doesn't mean the same thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes the word means the same, but in the concept of the sentences means another thing.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely
So that helped me a lot. And right now, right now speaking Spanish most of the time because I'm working with Spanish speakers. But I always trying to keep my English fresh. even though I'm living in
Right.
Toronto, right? But you know, when you speak Spanish or another language, sometimes you forget a little bit of your or English, no? So,
Yeah. Toronto is a very interesting place in that way because it's multicultural,
yes, that's what I like.
but it's yeah, and I love that, but it's also a city of neighborhoods.
Oh yes,
I don't know if you've heard that before. And what that means sometimes is you can go 30 years and not have to learn English
that's true.
because if you stay in your neighborhood where most people who live and work there speak another language, it's very possible. I've met friends of mine who have said, yeah, my grandmother has lived here for 30, 40 years, but she doesn't speak any English. Um, because everyone around us, the grocery store and the bank and everything in this neighborhood, there's always someone who
Exactly.
speaks Greek or Chinese or whatever the language is, and so she doesn't ever have to learn. So that's something that can happen in Toronto if
Mhm.
you're not careful. Like if you're not actively
Exactly.
uh, trying to keep your English fresh like you are, which is wonderful. Thank you. So I asked you a bunch of stuff already. What's your impression of Canada now? So you said it was yeah. What's your impression of Canada now that you've lived here for a while?
It is a little difficult to say because we are in the pandemic, right? So right now Toronto looks like very 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 different. You know, right now is summer,
Mhm.
it's July. It's no people. I mean, if you go to downtown Toronto, especially Dundas Square, is empty. There's no many
Mhm.
people. So that's what I miss. That's for me was very strange because I living in downtown actually. When I go for
Okay.
a walk, I don't see people. I mean, I see people, but it's not much like we used to see before. It's a
Yeah.
lot of business closed. It's a little bit sad, but I know that Canada is Canada, right? So with the time, we're gonna keep moving, and we will improve that things.
Yeah, I think it's a hard time right now
Mhm.
for a lot of people, especially small businesses, because of, the lack of customers and not as much
Everything.
support, things like everything. Um, but yeah, I think as we open up again, hopefully, people will start coming out again and businesses will open and it will be more lively again. Um, I have to say, I I don't mind not many people, but it does look
Different.
it does look a bit sad.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, something that I still like about Canada and I appreciate Canada is the Canada is open to immigrants. It's open to people
Mm,
from other countries. It's not as hard as immigrate, for example, to Australia or to England or to New Zealand. Canada is very. I work because I work doing immigration cases, all the stuff. So,
oh, cool.
so I see that Canada is very straightforward. You have four steps, and you have to forward the four. So you have to do the four steps. If you do the four steps, you are good. If you miss one step, you are not good. So simple like that. So Canada
Yeah,
is telling you
it's
what
a
to
it's a
do, and you have
weird
to do it.
system.
And it's not easy, but it's not hard too. So it's just
Right.
yeah, it's good.
It's simple but not easy,
Yeah,
I think.
simple but nice. But everyone can do it.
Yeah. Mm. Okay, awesome. So you talked a little bit about how you like to learn languages. So can you say a little bit more about what language learning strategies you have used in the past and which ones you liked
Actually,
best?
for me and for people who came to Canada, I always tell them you have to practice. You have to practice. You have to surround yourself with people who wants to learn that language. In this case, English. If you want to learn Spanish, you have to make some Spanish friends. If you want to learn French, you have to make some French friends. Everything is about practice. And then in your free time, or during the day, for example, for me, always works listening music with lyrics, reading the lyrics, watching movies in English subtitles, or something that you don't know, or a word that you don't know. Just check it out in your language. It's okay to check in your language, and then you by yourself you try to do sentences, and you try to figure out how that word can work in sentences, right?
Yeah,
And then for
that's a
me,
really
yeah,
good.
I mean, for me right now, that my English cannot be, for me, actually, I feel that my English cannot be better, and but cannot be worse. So I I try to keep it on the line. So I try to speak as much as I can when I have the chance. And just keep listening English, listening English. Just try to listen English. That's it. Just listening or reading, whatever.
So basically, practicing with other people,
Yes,
listening to native speakers and speaking with native speakers
yes.
is the most effective way for
Yes,
you.
yes, because sometimes I know people who are studying English in the school, for example, and they don't know English. I mean, they say to me, I'm studying, but I'm not learning." So I ask them, "So during the afternoon, when you finish college or the school, what are you doing?" "So I'm going with my friends." "And your friends are from your same country?" I say, "Yes." "So that's the problem. So you have to practice a little bit. You have to go out of the box." Try to
Yes,
make a
out of
new
your
friends.
comfort
Even though, listen, if you are in Canada, I mean, you can learn English, you can learn another languages, you can learn another cultures, you can try food for another countries. It's experience here. So that for me, practicing is the best thing.
Did you use textbooks a lot when you were studying? Actually, sorry, different question. Did you study English in Ecuador?
I studied English in Ecuador. I studied
Right.
English in Ecuador. I was intermediate, so I believed that I knew English. But when I came to Canada, I mean, speaking or saying something in English was a little bit hard. It wasn't natural. So that I realized that it's different to know English in your country and come to an English speaking country and try to speak. It's different. It's hard.
Yes. Yes, it's very different. The textbook English and the on the ground real life English, they're often very different.
Yes, yes. Maybe you
Yeah.
are good in grammar, but in speaking you are no good as you know grammar. So
Right.
there are different
Yeah.
abilities, skills.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. And do you have any goals at this moment with your language learning, either for English or Korean or Japanese?
Yeah, yeah. For example, in English, my weakness point can be writing. So I have a little bit of free time these days. So right now I'm like studying academic English again because I studied that in the college, but I don't write much. So that's my weakness. My weak point is writing. So I start to study a little bit more writing because writing is very important for me in English for my work too. So that's my goal. In try to improve a little bit of writing.
And do you have any goals for Korean or Japanese or not really
My
right now?
goals for Korean Japanese. uh, I don't know. I would like to continue to study those languages because I really like it, but I didn't have the time or the strength, or I don't know. So yeah,
And maybe-
because of job, because I have to do another things, but I would like to. So hopefully, when maybe this week or next week, we try to even though it's just to listen music or to watch some dramas. You learn a lot of Korean with the drama, so maybe yeah, try to keep and don't forget it.
Yeah, nice. Very cool. I right now I because I'm living in Toronto again, I'm not living in Korea, so like you, um, I have to consciously practice because if I don't practice, I will forget everything
Yeah, it
because
does
I'm
happen. That happens. You don't practice, you forget everything.
yeah. All right. Last question for you. It's a request. Can you please teach us an idiom or a phrase in Spanish?
Yes, actually, I was thinking there is a phrase that we don't have it in English. I mean, we have it, but it doesn't mean the same. You know, when you're
Okay.
gonna eat, when you're gonna beginning to eat, you say enjoy your meal, right?
Mhm.
But we say buen provecho or
Buen
buen
provecho.
provecho or buen apetito. So
Mm.
that's those two phrases are very common in the all Latin languages. Means enjoy your meal, but in English doesn't have the same. Can I say the same love? Like for example, we say
Mm.
buen apetito or disfruta tu comida or buen apetito. So for us, when you say that, it's like, oh, thank you very much. But here, enjoy your meal is kind of not. It's not doesn't feel the same.
Ah, yeah, it's like a thing we say, but if you don't enjoy your meal, oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we say
Okay,
buen
so
provecho.
buen
Buen
provecho
provecho.
or buen apetito.
Buen apetito.
What does provecho mean?
Provecho is when you take advantage of something.
Ah,
Yeah. And buen is good. So, but it doesn't translate literally. Translate literally can be say take advantage for good.
ah,
Yeah.
take good advantage of this meal or
Yeah,
something.
something like that.
So can you say buen provecho for something that's not food?
No, actually, no. It's especially for
Okay,
food.
only for food.
Only for food.
Ah, okay. Thank you very much for teaching me something new today, David. And thank you very much for sharing your time with me and with my listeners. I hope that um, I hope that you enjoyed this experience, and I hope my listeners get something. I'm sure they will get something wonderful from having heard you speak about your life here in Canada and your journey learning English. Um, and now you came in 2012, and I met you then, and now you're basically fluent in English, and you're working in English, right? And living in English. So, hey, I think you're doing fantastic, of course, and it's always possible. Do you think? I thought I was going to have no more questions, but I actually have another
No.
question. Um, Spanish is your first language,
Yes.
and you speak English now as well. Do you find that English is easier than Korean or Japanese for you?
That's a good question because I thought about that. For me, I mean, English is easier because I know English, right?
Hmm.
Okay, but Korean is easier than Japanese in the writing part.
Yeah.
Japanese is easier than Korea in the speaking part.
Okay.
And English and Spanish is bigger than English.
Spanish is bigger than
Yeah,
English.
what I mean is, for example, English, you you use the same article for singular and plural, right? In English,
Uh
the
huh.
car or the cars. In
I see what you
Spanish,
mean.
we use like eight articles for male, female, plural, and singular. So our
Right.
grammar is bigger than English.
Yes.
But English, that's why English is can be said the first language of the world because it's simple.
Mhm.
Everyone, if you travel, you speak English.
Right.
You don't speak another language because everyone has to know English.
I think you're the first person I have ever met who has told me that English is simple.
Yeah, for me, English. If, I mean, yes, I speak Spanish, so Spanish is very complicated. English is not easy, but English is simple. It's just one article, and then the sentences are simple. That's it.
Yeah, I never really thought about it that way.
Mm,
Wow, that's such an interesting way to look at it. It is smaller. And
exactly. It's smaller. The grammar is very smaller.
but what about like all the exceptions in English? Those don't really bother you at
Yeah, I
all?
mean there
I
is exceptions, right? But it's something that you have to learn. You have to understand by yourself, right?
Mhm.
No language is like easy if no exceptions or no something like why are you using this instead of that?
Mhm.
But if generally speaking, English is easy, simple. It's very simple. As a Spanish speaker,
Right.
maybe another language speaker can say differently, but in my opinion, English is simple.
Okay. I have no opinion on that because I always knew English, but I found the reason I asked is because, of course I've told my listeners before, I've studied Spanish, I've studied Korean,
Mhm.
I've studied French, and I think I find Spanish the easiest of the three if I was to compare Spanish, French, and Korean. Um, but I don't know if that's because I learned Spanish in school as a child, and so when you're a child, you pick things up a lot more easily and you don't ask questions and you
Absorb,
just absorb.
absorb everything.
So I don't know if that's why I feel like Spanish is easier. It's the first language I learned other than English, right? It's the first foreign language that I ever learned, and so when I learned French, it was building on the foundation of Spanish,
Exactly. Mhm.
but it was different, and so I found it difficult to switch. And then Korean,
That's another level. That's another level.
yeah, it's a whole different sort of language because the sentence structure is almost reversed.
Yes, I know.
And of course, they don't use the letters that we use, they use characters and things like that. But I definitely agree with you that Korean is easier. I feel Korean is easier to read and write
Jap-
than Japanese because Korean only has one alphabet.
oh yeah, Japanese has three and
Japanese has
counting.
three, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you so much again for your time, David. We're going to cut it here. Do you have any social media or anything that you would like to share for people to follow
Yeah,
you on?
sure. You can find me in Instagram, Facebook as David Santa Cruz. Uh, just follow me, and then you can find actually you can find a lot of pictures from Canada, Toronto, my work, some another trips that I have done. So
Mhm.
if you have any questions, feel free to contact me and just let's chat. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'll put the links to your Instagram and you said Facebook, right?
Yes.
I'll put the links to that in the show notes so listeners can head there and just sort of tap on the link there to find David online more easily. All right. Thanks so much, David.
Thank you so much, and nice to see you again.
Yes, you too.
Thank you.
Take care.